And we are live. What's up, everybody? So Sterling, you've been out for a little while. We have to catch up. So tonight, if you hadn't figured out by looking at our thumbnail that we created on the stream, the year of the bomb, we're going to be talking about some bombs in cinema, specifically around Disney, Marvel, and now the DC universe. So, what's up, King's Advisors? What's up, Caleb? Thanks for joining us, bud. Everybody's streaming tonight, so we just had to roll. So, it is what it is. But so, Caleb, I'm going to get your thoughts in a second, but I got to ask first, Sterling, you went and saw The Flash,
I did last week, yeah.
and we didn't really do a recap on The Flash. I may do one. I don't like doing recaps on them like right when the movie comes out because unlike TV series, people need a week or two to go see a movie. They need time to go see it. We have kids and obligations. So, what's up, Nikki? You got to put that Thrawn poster up. I can't wait to see it on your background. So the Flash, boy, I got a lot of thoughts on the Flash. So first of all, you went and saw it before I did.
I saw it actually while you were recording. That's why I wasn't on any
Oh yeah, that's why
videos
he wasn't
last
on.
week.
That's why on my last few videos he wasn't here. He was going to see movies and
Oh,
being a new dad and a soon-to-be dad of a second child.
that's
So,
right.
okay, so give me. Well, you and I haven't talked about. Well, we did talk briefly,
Mhm.
but not in anything in depth. So I got a lot of thoughts. So first, before we talk about why the Flash has done so poorly at the box office, and I'm going to go into maybe 5 or 6 things I think they did wrong strategically that I think hurt it badly. Um, things within their control and things not in their control. What did you think about the Flash? Give me your thoughts. You went and saw it. I'm not worried about spoilers at this point because if someone clicks on our stream or our thumbnail and they know it's going to be, covering this topic. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, stop right now. 3, 2, 1. Go into what you think about the Flash
Well, it gets a lot of criticism for nostalgia bait, and
for Keaton.
and that's true. But I will say, I took the bait. That was the best part of the movie. And I think Michael Keaton stole every scene that he was in. Um, Ezra Miller, despite what you think of him, if I didn't know anything about his personal problems, he's still insufferable as an actor. I hate him as the Flash. I never liked him as the Flash. Um,
Yeah.
he's just not that. To me, he doesn't own the role. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he never did. Even
Here's the
before
problem
I
with
knew
Ezra.
anything about him.
Here's the problem with Ezra as the Flash. He's a supporting character, just like Ant-Man.
But that hero, but
Why are they making a movie?
Flash shouldn't be a supporting character though.
Well, okay, so Flash may not
If
should,
you take
should
if
be
you take
one, but
DC
Ezra Miller
heroes,
is not a he can't carry a movie. That's why
no,
they brought
you
in
can't.
Michael Keaton, who, by the way, I love Michael Keaton. I love seeing him back as Batman, but their marketing was horrible for this movie. First of all, they they played the whole freaking movie at CinemaCon for an audience of people that cover movies.
All right.
Then they did, for those that are out on the West Coast that are content creators, how many advanced screenings were there? For the Flash, I could have gone out there and seen it. I had a couple of people I was talking to. I could have gotten on a plane, gone out there and seen it. They had so many advanced screenings, and then their marketing around it. The minute they decided not to shelve it and to move forward with the movie, they had to put Ezra Miller out there. I do not. Again, I'm not saying they shouldn't have shelved this movie, but the minute they said, you know what, we're going to stick with this guy, and we have too much invested in it. Well, you're all in now, so you're going to stick with him, but yet you're not going to have the main actor out there promoting the movie. So you're setting yourself up for failure. And then you have a guy who, yes, I agree with you. The Flash could be a box office draw as a character. If you put, pick someone who could, and let's say that Tom Cruise was the Flash. I mean, a box office star, right?
Right.
The Flash would have opened to $150 million. So I agree with you. It's not about the Flash. Ezra Miller, I don't really care for him as an actor. I didn't really care for him in all the previous movies in the Snyderverse. So I didn't really care. I thought the story was okay about his mother and bringing her back. I thought he did an okay job. I thought Keaton was great. I didn't mind at all Sasha Kalia. I thought she was pretty cool as Supergirl. I thought that was okay. She wasn't in the movie very much, um, but the CGI. I know people are complaining about the CGI, and I saw Kevin Smith talking about how he knows when he goes in and watches a movie and it's superheroes and I've done movies before and so I know how hard it is. I can't do the CGI, so I just kind of take it for what it is. Well, I'm sorry, but I just went and saw Avatar. The whole movie was CGI and it looked amazing.
I didn't think it looked that great, the new one.
I thought it looked better than The Flash.
Oh, I mean, it did. I
The
didn't think it
babies,
looked,
the babies in The Flash, the CGI looked worse than the dancing baby on Ally McBeal 15 years ago. It was awful. And I had 2 children with me that were laughing. They were like, those aren't real babies. Like they were laughing about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what happened with the CGI, but whoever they used to do the CGI, they shouldn't use them in any other movies. I'm sorry, but to me, you watch Superman and Lois on the CW or whatever channel you watch it on, that CGI looks better than this.
I refuse to watch anything on the CW.
Or what? I don't even know what channel it's on, but it is actually a good show, Superman and
I haven't
Lois.
seen any of that.
But yeah. So I mean, I didn't like the CGI. I thought the movie was okay. I didn't dislike the movie.
I didn't think it was a terrible movie.
I thought the movie was fine, but they were set up to fail because they have a guy who can't carry a movie. They didn't want to fire the guy, but they didn't really back him, so they kept him out of the press from promoting the movie.
Yeah, they couldn't promote it.
Yeah, and then you have, this potentially superhero fatigue, and then you have the fact that I'm a fan of James Gunn. I like James Gunn, but they've made a strategic mistake by getting out and talking about that they're resetting this universe. And the minute you do that and you go, you know what, we're going to do a new Superman, a new Batman, then all the movies that are coming out
feels like you're watching it for no reason.
For no reason, it's going nowhere. So at some point, you have fans that go, you know what, I don't want to go see it because the Blue Beetle, Aquaman, the Flash, it's going nowhere. So, I mean, your thoughts? Do you think any of those things are valid?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the 2 main problems. Is one, you had a celebrity that you couldn't promote the movie behind because that would have been a lot of awkward interviews with what he was charged with. And I don't even think it was that necessarily people were protesting or boycotting the movie because of him. I just think that it just didn't really get a lot of promotion. And I think
really
the other
weird
issue is you're setting up a dead universe. Like there's nothing to be invested in with it.
You're banking on this movie making over 100 million opening weekend, and your marketing around it was awful. And the showing it at CinemaCon and then the advanced screenings, and then you have you're keeping Ezra Miller, so you didn't replace him, but yet you didn't put him out there to promote the movie. It was just really weird. And then you hear the stories about James Gunn had Henry Cavill in it, and then he wiped him out because they're changing Superman. And then there was supposedly I don't know if you guys have heard, but they were supposed to have Keaton. They were supposed to have Keaton and Sasha Kalia at the end of the movie, on the court steps, with Ezra, and they pulled that out. They removed that, and so I'm sitting there thinking, wait a second. So these characters just died. So now, if you go back and watch the original Batman, that whole world, we know that 30 years from now, that world ends. Zod destroyed that whole world.
I mean, I guess so.
I mean, again, I had issues with the movie. I mean, I thought it was okay. It was not a bad movie.
I think it was. I mean, I'm the same way. Nikki was talking about she loves Keaton. I totally took that
Keaton,
I thought
Keaton was great in it.
He carried the movie, and I thought his scenes were outstanding. But yeah, I mean,
every scene he was in was great.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't in the movie, it would have.
And Sasha Kalia, man, she was easy on the eyes. I thought the actress, I haven't seen her anything else, so I'm not super familiar with her, but she played vulnerable and strong. She didn't have a lot to do, but the scenes that she had, she was fine. Nikki, I think there were more scenes with Keaton. I think that when they release the Blu-rays or they release any type of different type of cut, although at this point, Warner Brothers, the DC universe, they may not do anything with this thing as much money as they're going to lose. Um, you know, we're looking at the numbers. Let me share my screen so you guys can see. Um, it's not good. It's let me pull up here. So under the box office showdowns, um, you guys tell me if you can see the Flash. So the Flash is at 140 million worldwide right now. So it's at 66 million, 70 almost 75 internationally. It's probably got to make, if you're, conservatively, if you pull 60 to 65 cents on the dollar from the theaters, and it was over 220 million, 200
So
plus,
that'll do worse than
140 in marketing.
they'll do worse than Black Adam most likely, right? And that was a pretty big loss.
Black Adam was in the mid 300s. Budget was similar. Yeah, maybe this movie. What we're going to find out is this movie. If you look at, let me look at the domestic. If you look at the trending for, we're at Tuesday here. What you're looking for is hopefully the second weekend. And if you're DC, you're hoping for a sub 55% drop. If you could get to 45 to 50, you'd be happy. But here's the problem: they've got to figure out, are they going to do any additional marketing push for this movie?
They can when it goes to HBO Max.
I think right now, DC pulled out of DC and HBO. They've pulled out of Comic-Con. So, that's probably impacted by.
So did Marvel, though.
Marvel did as well, but that's impacted by the June 30th date for the SAG potential strike, the labor stoppage of the actors. They don't want to put the actors and some of the content creators, or not content creators, movie studio heads and directors and producers. They don't want to put them at Comic-Con and have people protesting and putting them on spot and making them look bad. It's a bad look. So a lot of these companies, plus they have work stoppages. So
they should use this opportunity to clean house. There's been a lot of writers have wrote a lot of bad things the past few years. I would use this as a opportunity to.
Well, listen, and we're going to talk about that in a second in regards to Taylor Sheridan. For those that didn't see the article in the Hollywood Reporter, amazing. What's up, Damio? Special Ray. I love that photo. There's an article in the Hollywood Reporter with Taylor Sheridan. It's one of the best articles I've seen in years. Taylor Sheridan is the man. Like, talking about, I don't compromise. I write my scripts. I've lived the life. I know what I'm writing about. And so why would I put it in the hands of a writer's room where they don't have the experience, they don't know the content? And it made me think about when you're writing about Star Wars, or you're writing about Game of Thrones, or you're writing about Indiana Jones, and then you bring in people from a writer's room. It's like writing about culture, Spanish culture, any type of culture, and you put people in a room that don't know the culture, they're going to write a script that's awful. Yeah. And people are going to be like, these people, whoever wrote this, don't know anything about this. So that's what Taylor Sheridan gets into in the interview. He's like, I don't do writers' rooms. I've lived this life. I know about what I'm writing about, and I'm the one that's ultimately responsible. And so, I think with the writer's strike, I think there's going to be a lot of weeding out of people that are not talented. And you're seeing Disney even letting go of people that maybe were part of decisions being made that have cost them billions of dollars. And look, I know people believe that some of these companies won't change. They're so big, they're too big to fail, too big to change. That's not true.
If they have a couple more years like this, Disney's going to be in trouble.
Think about this. Without even looking at, we're going to talk about The Little Mermaid, Elemental in just a second. But the Disney was losing $1.5 billion a quarter on streaming. That's a cruise ship. That's like walking into the board and for a quarterly meeting and saying, "Hey, guess what, everybody? I do have some bad news. One of our cruise ships sunk." And then coming back 3 months later and go, "You know what, everybody? We had another cruise ship that sunk." And then coming back a quarter later, guess what? Another cruise ship. And that's just on streaming. So now you
So
add
if you take like the stock losses and everything all together, it's
absolutely.
130 billion dollars.
And let me share again because we're going to look at Elemental. So let's look at Elemental's box office. So this is catastrophic.
Yeah.
They're at 39 million domestic, 15 million internationally. Now I don't know if their release date, they haven't released in all the countries yet. So you'll see here they're not everywhere, but this is not good. This is China. They opened in China to 5 million. 5 million. So this movie's going to lose at least $150 million. I mean, at least $150 million. And so I was reading in an article the other day that this may be the end of Pixar. They may roll Pixar just into Disney animation. Keep in mind, they already lost badly on Strange New Worlds and Lightyear, and everybody around Lightyear was gone. They fired everybody around.
Didn't they let go of their president like years before all this, though?
Yeah, there was some change at the top around that, but
that's when it really went downhill.
But the people around Lightyear are all gone, and so now you have, look, Pixar was one of the best known brands after Jobs sold it to Disney. They had a strong run, and then obviously we know John Lasseter and the scandal, and John Lasseter has gone to Apple, but they're in trouble. And so you look at, we just talked about DC, and DC's got issues.
But DC at least has a plan. Like the stuff that's flopping is stuff that was already in development, and your only other option was to write it off. They've said, look, we need to change things. So they hired a guy to do that. Disney has no plan. Warner Brothers has a plan.
Well, but I wanted to show you, there was something. Okay. So if you guys can see this kind of surprises me though. And by the way, I like this young actor that's going to be in Blue Beetle. He was in Cobra Kai. And again, there's not a lot to do in Cobra Kai, so I'm not holding him accountable for, winning, an Emmy for Cobra Kai. The show is what it is. It's cheesy, and I don't blame him for that.
It's made for the fans.
Yeah, it's total fan service.
Acquired taste.
And I'm here for that. Like I love Cobra Kai. I like
it for what it is.
For what it is. But like the director coming out and saying Blue Beetle, confirming the film is in the DCU and future installments. Shut up.
I'd say that. I'd say that though, just so people don't think it's part of a dead universe.
Well, I just think just put the movie out. If it's good, I know we talked about The Flash was not bad.
But if it sucks, you can just write it off. But if they say it's part of the older universe, then it's already dead in the water.
But see, here's what's going to happen. These people behind the scenes all feel the need to give an interview, go on social media. Quit talking about all this stuff. Create a marketing plan for the rollout. Like when we saw the trailer, my two boys saw the trailer for Blue Beetle. They didn't really know who Blue Beetle was. They were like, that's pretty cool. My two kids, 8 and almost 10 boys, were like, the Blue Beetle, is that a hero? Where they were asking questions about it. So they were interested in it. The trailer worked for them. And and they kind of recognized the kid from Cobra Kai. Because my boys, one of them does jiu-jitsu. So they recognized him. And so they were interested. So these people feel like James Gunn getting on social media and talking to people. And it's the same thing. I'm gonna show you the same thing. James Mangold is doing interviews, and he's talking about the previous Indiana Jones movies, and I don't want to be part of some big franchise that's some big corporate commercial. He talks about the Dial of Destiny debuting at the Cannes Film Festival, which drew a muted reaction for critics. Oh, by the way, this is a Variety article that was, I want to give credit. I'm moving around here, but It was an article written by Adam Very. So it's director James Mangold. It's from was this today? When was this? I think it was today. Um, and he talks about fan service franchises have become large scale advertising. Dude, you chose to do Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. What are you talking about? Like, and this is the same guy that fought with people online when they talked about that what the original ending was. That now Harrison Ford has come out and said they did reshoot the ending, and so you wouldn't have gotten in trouble if you weren't arguing with people on social media. Just make the movie. And this article is, boy, if you don't like Kathy Kennedy or you have reservations about Indiana Jones, the new movie, this article is not going to make you feel much better. Um, but he just talks about, why he chose to join. And I want to talk about the Cannes Film Festival part, which kind of drove me crazy. I think right down here he says, um, where was the Cannes Film Festival part? About servicing these big franchises. Although he's done a Logan movie, and here he says the Dial of Destiny at the Cannes Film Festival drew immediate reaction from critics. When when you're in franchise land, it's very hard for critical thinkers, meaning journalists, to overlook what I'm sure their editors want, which is the business prism of how does it rate to the other ones. I always thought if I were second or third best to one of the greatest films of all time, I'd be good. I mean, it all vaporizes later. Either the movie will live or it won't. Um, but he's and then they ask him about if he's going to do any future um, series or movie with Phoebe Waller Bridge, which God help us if there is a movie. If he's in talks with Disney about a potential Waller Bridge to carry on the franchise, and he waves his hand dismissively, I'm not interested. I refuse. I just can't do it. He gestures to the rules hovering just over his shoulder. The amount of lore and Easter eggs and fan service starts to become antithetical to any of this stuff at a certain point. It isn't storytelling anymore, it's large scale advertising. What are you talking about? You chose to do this movie.
Yeah.
You chose to do Logan. Like, what are you talking about? And it's frustrating. I think these the filmmakers, the studio heads, you're causing more damage. It's crazy. It's just frustrating. Um, especially journalists have critical thinking. Some do. Some look. I mean, some journalists came out and said exactly what they thought of Indiana Jones. They said what they thought about Quantum Mania. They said what they thought about Elemental. I know John Campea loved Elemental, but which everybody's entitled to. Like, look, people were bashing the Flash.
He loves everything.
You and I thought the Flash was okay.
I thought
that was not the problem with what it's done at the box office is not the movie itself.
No.
Even Ezra, and we're not big fans of Ezra, but like, it at the end of the day,
I did think he was insufferable though. the entire movie.
I've only seen him in like one other movie, so
he's such a dork. Like he doesn't play that role well to me.
Yeah,
he just comes off as. I don't remember the Flash being like super awkward as a character. He never was. Like he's kind of a cocky, smart ass. He just doesn't do that well. He doesn't play that character well.
And we're two guys that are I try to just cover the content, the storytelling, and writing, but I don't get Phoebe Waller Bridge. I just watched Sasha Kalia in The Flash. Why don't you stick her in Indiana Jones? Like Phoebe Waller Bridge, and I know people. Well, you haven't seen her in Fleabag. Yes, I've seen Fleabag. Well, then she was in Solo. Yes, she was the droid that Lando fell in love with, which was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. At the end of the day, we know why they cast Phoebe Waller Bridge, because
I don't know why.
Kathy Kennedy and her story group.
Are they close?
They want somebody who breaks down what they perceive to be toxic masculinity, the male leads, the male hero. And if people know how the Indiana Jones movie ends, they know that there's a very deliberate thing that happens that tries to reinforce that. And it's really stupid. And that's why they cast her in the movie. So at the end of the day, look, I mean, there's a lot of great actresses. I don't know if you guys know the Australian actress Teresa Palmer. She rocks. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't put her in any of these movies. She's fantastic. She would remind you of the lady that played in uh, the Last Crusade. She was in the RRR movie. Um, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she's was very talented, and did the Last Crusade. Teresa Palmer's great. I mean, you could take, um, Olivia from Olivia Cook. You could take her from House of the Dragon that plays Allison Hightower. You could have stuck 100, 200 actresses in this movie, and they would have been likable. And so we're going to see it again. Indiana Jones is not out yet, but we're going to see in a few weeks. The movie has to make over 800 million to not lose money. I know some people are going to say 900 billion. They have tax write-offs. They're going to have licensing stuff. But if Indiana Jones doesn't make over $600 million at the box office,
they have a successful movie. Guardians will be their only successful movie.
So we started the year, and again, this stream's the year of the bomb.
So we started the year with Mario, right?
No, we started the year with Quantum Mania.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry.
We started the year with Quantum Mania, everybody.
I saw that.
And Quantum Mania is lost conservatively $150 million.
Yeah.
People get, Victoria Alonso got fired, and they could say, well, she
thank God
she left for different reasons. Someone had to be cut over Quantum Mania. So Victoria Alonso, she went to the professional gallows.
Yeah.
So then we had Creed 3, did well. Not a Disney movie. Did well.
No.
Michael B. Jordan, like him, good actor.
And that's a much lower budget movie. I think it did around $250. But
right.
That
You're not
movie
spending
$250
million on a movie.
That's probably like a $50 million movie.
Then we had John Wick.
That did
John Wick's a hit.
For its budget,
yeah. And so we had John Wick, and then we ended up having Guardians and Super Mario. So Super Mario, everybody knows, is like $1.35 billion.
Which will probably be the winner this year, I would think. I don't see anything beating that.
Probably, but we got Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
I don't think that's going to do 1.3 billion.
We're going to see. Hey, Mr. Scientologist himself that doesn't talk about Scientology. And that's a lesson for James Gunn and for James Mangold and all these people, the creators of these video games that want to argue with people on social media.
Shut up about your personal life.
Keep your mouth shut and work on your craft and put out good
content. Don't care about your politics. Don't care about your beliefs. Just
the minute Tom Cruise shuts up and does Top Gun Maverick, does Mission Impossible, everybody's going to the movie theater because he's just focusing on making a good movie.
I don't think anything will beat Mario, though.
Probably not. But if anything's going to beat it, it's going to be.
Which I like Mario, by the way. I thought
Mario was good.
It was everything it needed.
And by the way, Mario is going to lead to, and I want to answer some of these chats in just a second. Mario is going to lead to Zelda. So they're replacing Poseidon's Fury in Orlando. Poseidon's Fury is right next to Harry Potter, the Wizarding World. So, at the end of the day, we went through Poseidon's Fury a few months ago. So because we knew it was closing. And they're going to put Highgarden there, right? So that's going to be Zelda. Zelda's coming. And guess what? Zelda, if they don't get political, and I don't think they are, Zelda's going to make over $1 billion. Why would it not? I mean, if Mario
Hopefully
did,
it's a little bit darker, a little more serious.
And I know Mario's been around longer, but Zelda's got a big following, man. Big following. So, I want to answer a few of these real quick. It's staying in line with what we're talking about. So it's really weird, man. Kathy Kennedy, she's cast all these characters that you almost think, is she casting people that she thinks look like her? Or they're all these white girls that have brown hair and it's, I don't know, it's really weird. But other than, she even, we even had Kira in Solo, which was Emilia Clarke. So they've all had brown hair. It's really weird. But so at the end of the day, to me, that's the lesson. I think a lot of things went wrong. You have superhero fatigue. Liam Neeson was asked a couple months ago. He did an interview.
Superhero fatigue is such a lazy excuse, though.
It is an excuse because if you write good material, it's going to do well.
If you did heroes that people cared about and you cast accurately, where you cast actors that actually look like they were ripped out of the comics, which is what they did with all the original Marvel movies, those movies would do fine. But you're
But like,
focusing on characters that nobody cares about, and the casting's been awful on some of the newer
but
stuff.
did you see Michael Keaton out there doing promos
No,
for
but
the
you should
marketing for
have.
the movie?
I think that would have helped it.
Why wouldn't Michael Keaton be? First of all, everybody on the planet knew Michael Keaton was in the movie. That's the problem. They let it out. It got out. So now it's out. You've got a huge fan favorite in Michael Keaton, and they did no marketing with him. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. It set up the movie to fail. The leadership, they can blame Ezra. I don't like Ezra, but he's not the reason the movie's not doing well. The movie's fine. So then we get to Phoebe Waller-Bridge she's cast because she's a social justice warrior, and she is the antithesis of what is perceived to be the toxic white male. That's why she was cast in Indiana Jones. That's why.
It's like every female hero since 2015, basically. Like it's
yeah. I mean, so she's kind of, I think what everybody was saying about Brie Larson years ago, and Brie Larson had done Kong Skull Island, and then turns around and everything comes out about Captain Marvel, and it pretty much ruined her career. I mean, she's done car commercials. I see her driving around Pacific Coast Highway in her car, pimping a Buick or whatever she's pimping out. But so Phoebe Waller-Bridge, again, she'll be doing stuff in England.
Speaking of Brie Larson, why don't you talk about the Marvels?
Okay, we're going to talk about the Marvels in a minute, because first I want to answer a couple of these chats, because we're going to get to the Marvels. So Matt Tween says Phoebe Waller-Bridge even got involved in the last Bond movie. She did. She was the main writer of the Bond script, right?
The one when they killed him?
Where they killed James Bond.
God.
Yeah. So Matt Tween, great point. And now she's doing something. What is she doing now? She's got a project that she's doing. Is it for Amazon? She's got another project that she's coming out with, and I'm drawing a blank because I'm trying to read the chats. But Gatekeepers Damio says, I don't think it's going to touch 450 million. You talking about Indiana Jones or Flash? If Indiana Jones doesn't hit 450 million, that's a $250 million loss. That's $250 million. I gotta think Indiana Jones. I know they projected it to do 60 million. I gotta think Indiana Jones is going to be north of 500 million. But will it hit 6 or 7? That's a different story. I don't know. It's either way. It's not gonna. It's looking like it's not going to make money. If the projections hold true that it opens to 60 million, go look up the history of movies that need to make 700 million plus and start out at 60 million. It's almost impossible. You'd have to have such good word of mouth. And that's the problem. They released the movie at Cannes. It did not get a good response. They've let people see it, and it's got 50-50. People are saying they don't hate it, but they don't like her in it. And so they're giving the movie, it's a divided response, which is not going to get you to $600 or $700 million. Special Ray says, be lucky to hit 350 worldwide. May actually do better overseas. Maybe. But look, overseas, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is not going to sell that movie. People overseas are not going to go see that. Matt Tween says, that's a problem. Too many movies need to make 750. Let me talk about that for a second. That is true. People walking into rooms and making pitches and asking for 150, 200 million, $250 million to make a movie, then they need 150 million in marketing because they don't have a Tom Cruise to sell it. These budgets have gotten way out of control, and there's going to be a reckoning with that. And
this worked in the past, though. I mean, there were movies cracking $1 billion in 2019.
How much did Joker cost?
Not much. That's an anomaly, though.
It isn't. But look, I mean, Joker was what, $100 million and made over $1 billion. So yeah.
I think they just screw it up in so many other places. But
yeah, the Poseidon's Fury is one of my favorites. Yeah, it was kind of a cool. My kids were trying to figure out all the lasers flying around everywhere. It was a cool experience. Mission Impossible Special Ray does look good. Look, Tom Cruise, you count on two things when you go see a Tom Cruise movie: the stunts are going to be amazing, and he's going to run really weird. If you've ever seen a movie where Tom Cruise is running, which is in every movie he's in,
He so
he's a
actually,
very strange
I
runner.
actually read an article about that though. Like he runs like an athlete, like a track, like he trained.
Well, because he's so focused on trying to make everything
Yeah.
perfect that he looks at how people run, and it's almost like mechanical, like he does it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's goofy. If you've ever seen Tom Cruise in person, which I was lucky to back in the '90s when he did The Firm, he's like 5'7". He's a very short guy.
Yeah, that's what I
He's
heard.
tiny. Is Tom Cruise only filmmaker immune to woke studio interference? Taylor Sheridan. I mean, I know he's doing TV series stuff right now, but why couldn't he do a movie? I mean, we'll talk about Taylor in just a second. Some things I learned in the Hollywood Reporter article that are crazy that you and I were talking about beforehand. KK out of here casting KK out here casting doppelgangers only. It sure looks like it. I mean, if I was a person that didn't look like Kathy Kinney, I'd be like, what, you're going to give a chance for someone else to get cast in one of these movies. It's really strange, but Keaton was making Beetlejuice 2. I kind of interested to see Beetlejuice 2.
Have you seen the casting for that? I actually thought it wasn't bad.
Yeah, so they are they bringing in
Michael Keaton's coming back.
and they got Winona Ryder,
the girl from
Justin Theroux,
Wednesday. What's
yeah,
her
the
name?
girl from Wednesday, which I love that series on Netflix.
And so I mean, that could be,
And Justin Theroux plays Winona Ryder's husband.
so that could be good.
They're the parents of the girl from Wednesday.
Who's Justin Theroux? I don't.
Justin Theroux was married to Jennifer Aniston. He did The Leftovers. That was on HBO. Really strange series, but it's pretty good.
Okay.
He did a new version of the Mosquito Coast that I think was on Apple TV.
Was he
Plus.
in Your Highness? Was he the wizard?
He's done a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but he was married to Jennifer Aniston. That's his big claim.
I
I do like Justin Theroux, but he's a supporting actor.
I know who you're talking about. I think. Yeah.
So let's see. Beetlejuice, perfect. I'm actually looking forward to the Beetlejuice sequel. I'm worried about them screwing it up, but as long as it doesn't look horrible on the trailers, I'm going to go see it. I love everything Michael Keaton's in, and Winona Ryder is great in Stranger Things. I've always liked Winona Ryder. Unless I was running a retail shop and she was shoplifting from me, but
she's gotten kind of weird over the years.
King's Advisors, Damio, you will never get a wrench saying that. Ruining my childhood. Yeah, Joker was 80 million budget, made over $1 billion, 90, probably spent 50 on marketing. So, interesting stuff. So we were talking, you asked about the Marvels. So we come up on Elemental and The Flash bombing, Elemental,
Little Mermaid,
and now Little Mermaid, which is
at
I'm not going to share my screen and show it again because I've showed you guys two already, but it's at 470 million globally. So it might break 525, 530.
I think it needed to do like low sixes to break even or something.
They had a massive marketing campaign around that. So you can look up at
that's not for me anyways. I would have never watched that, but I mean, still.
Yeah, so I think with marketing everything, they were around 350, 360 total, and then you got to make you have to make probably 750. 700 because they'll get some licensing. Let's call it 700 to make money. So they're going to be they're probably going to lose $100 million on Little Mermaid. I would estimate $100 million when they're all done.
So they've had one. If Indiana Jones doesn't do well,
if Indiana Jones it crashes and burns,
Guardians is the only thing that did well for him.
And James Gunn's gone. So you've got Elemental, Quantum Mania, Little Mermaid, potentially Indiana Jones crashing. And then you got the Marvels. Ooh,
that's going to be a flop. I'm calling it here.
I think the Marvels is in trouble.
A big loss. So it's going to be what 5 out of 6 flops.
Yeah, what's 100 million between friends, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so tie in the fact that they cut their pricing to the parks, and so for our friends that live in Florida, for your in-state resident, they cut the prices, right? And so they're cut the tickets, but everybody said the parks were packed. So if they were doing so well at the parks, um, Matt Dwayne Sundowners, can you compare any other industry that has the same slim profit margin dilemma?
Gaming.
Yeah, gaming. Um, I mean that's tough. You could say any type of media, physical media, print media. It's all suffering right now. Um, the streaming providers are all suffering, but the problem that
Gaming's doing well though.
gaming's doing well, I think, at the top, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I think I'm tired of like the COVID excuse and all that crap. You're
Well,
making stuff that people don't want to watch, and that's why it's doing bad. That's all there is to it.
so
I mean,
so like for example, the shipping industry, right? You've got FedEx, you've got UPS, you've got Amazon shipping. Um, those are thin margins, and I can't speak to all of them, but I'm pretty close to one of those companies that I just mentioned, people that work there based on where I live, and they're hurting, but they're making sound business decisions that have reduced those losses, or those, the margins being so slim, and the change that's going on, the digital innovation, and what's happening around the globe. The leadership is good, so they're not putting themselves in a position to lose billions of dollars. If they have losses, they're manageable losses. And what happened was, in the entertainment business, two things went on. And at the end of the day, yeah, 10 to 15% margin. I mean, they'll turn over sales teams. They'll make some change here and there, but you know, companies will never say it's acceptable to be flat, 0 to 8% growth. But trust me, in economic times like this, sometimes they'll take it. Um, but what happened was, there were two things I want to talk about, and I'm not making any moral judgment. I'm just going to state the facts. One, with COVID, you had the streaming providers saw a chance, with everybody staying at home, to create a whole new business. Just like when you had 3 or 4 television stations, that was all you could ever watch, and then cable came in and just completely changed the network television business overnight. So then you get into residuals, and you get into um, all the things around that. And then after cable, you had VHS and the rental stores, right? The Blockbusters and movie rentals. And that was a big change. And then you had DVDs, and then Blu-rays, digital media, physical media. And with every change, you have to make the right moves to be able to see where the opportunity is to make the most amount of money and to have longevity. What happened with COVID is, they saw the streaming platform a way to build up subscribers. And they said, look, if we can get someone as a subscriber, and we get them for $8 a month, we know within 3 or 4 years, we're going to raise those prices. We're going to get them up to $30 a month. And the first one to 250 million subscribers wins the war. So they all started, and their numbers were skewed because people were at home. So The Mandalorian comes out and launches Disney Plus, and they thought, remember, their estimates were a third of what they ended up getting in terms of subscribers, but they were losing money. They were paying for the growth of subscribers. And at the end of the day, that model was a short-term model that didn't work. So what happened was, COVID ends, and people look up, and they're like, you hear about the cord cutting, and people looked at their bills, just like I'm sure each of you have done, and they say, you know what? I've got Netflix, I've got Amazon, which I don't have to pay for because I ship through Amazon.
Yeah.
I've got Netflix, I've got Hulu, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, Paramount Plus.
It's like having cable all over again. Once you add up all your streaming services, you're paying what you would have paid for cable in the first place.
Netflix. And so then you look up and you go, man, I was paying $200 a month for DirecTV or Dish or Comcast or whoever. And now I cut it, and I was at $30 a month, but now I'm at 110, and it's going up. And then you see all the companies have price increases the year after COVID started to die down. So 2022, they start raising their rates, thinking people are going to accept that. What did people do?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have 6 different companies giving me streaming content. I'm gonna have 3. And so the model starts to change where they go, you know what? They go to Wall Street, and Wall Street says, you know, you idiots, we're measuring everything on subscriber growth. You need to be measuring profitability. And that's when Disney took it on the chin and they said, how much are you losing a quarter? And they started to have to put a plan in place for layoffs and then stripping shows off of Disney Plus so they don't have to pay people for it and having write-offs, their tax write-offs. And so at the end of the day, they're not the only ones. Netflix, uh, Warner, DC, Warner. You've got uh, Apple, and you've got Amazon's different model. So I kind of like Amazon's model, to be honest with you.
Amazon could have a show that's like that Lord of the Rings show
They
was
could.
awful, but who cares? I get
They
discounts
don't
off my
care
packages.
because
Like I'm not going to cancel Amazon because it has value in other ways.
Amazon's business is more recession proof than Disney's. Amazon's core business, so at some point Amazon is going to figure out a model that I think Amazon may end up gobbling up one of the streaming providers. I think Apple's going to buy one. I think, we won't in 3 years we won't see Hulu. It'll be part of something else.
I thought Hulu was partly owned by Disney, wasn't it?
Partly, and then Fox. Okay. So Comcast, they have the rights to, and that's going to be at least, they're negotiating right now. It's going to be at least $12 to $15 million that Disney's on the hook for at the end of the year. So good luck going to the board when you have to take that loss. So it's interesting stuff. We get to Indiana Jones, and if that movie is a bomb, and a bomb of over 100 million to 200 million loss, which it could be, there's going to be look. We're going to start out with people getting on social media and James Mangold, and you'll see the Flash and Black Widow both used Microsoft Paint. Is that what MS Paint? Is that what you're talking about? MS Paint. Yeah. So the heads are going to roll. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to get on social media, and you're going to hear about toxic fan bases. They're going to blame the fans, which that works never.
It's working so well for them.
Yeah, it's worked so well. They never learn. So after they blame the fans, then you're going to see people aren't doing anything for that studio anymore.
That's part of the
James
problem.
Mangold, do you really think when this movie bombs? And look, I hope it doesn't bomb. I know the story, so I know what's going to end up happening. But I mean, I've got Indiana Jones stuff behind me. I'm probably going to end up having to give all this stuff away in another giveaway because I won't be able to look at my Indiana Jones stuff anymore. But at the end of the day, they're if you think this movie bombs and James Mangold's going to do a Star Wars movie, not going to happen. Not going to happen. And he'll be glad to go away. Another thing I just read, Ryan Murphy, who was at Netflix, was he at Netflix? He did American Horror Story.
Okay.
And I think he did the Dahmer.
American Horror Story was, are you talking about the series?
Yeah, the series. He did the and I like
that's what was the original network that was at Netflix?
It was American Horror Story, AMC. What was American Horror Story on? Yeah, Nikki, that's what I was going to talk about. So Ron Murphy, who did Dahmer. So you got
maybe they want more adult oriented content. I don't know.
And he's leaving Netflix and American Horror Story, which I mean, look, I love good horror movie now if it's done right. He's supposedly going to Disney. Yeah, AMC. Thanks, Special Ray.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I'm not bashing right now. He had a $200-something million deal with Netflix, which was stupid. Shonda Rhimes got a big fat deal. He got one, and Benioff and Weiss got one. And they just did their trailer for their new series, The Three Body Problem, which looks okay. It looks okay.
Benioff and Weiss.
Benioff and Weiss. Finally, it took them 3 years to do it. But so then FX. That's where I watched American Horror Story on FX. But he's going to Disney. What is Disney doing? Like, I mean, how much money do you think Netflix lost between what they paid Ryan Murphy, what they paid Benioff and Weiss, and what they paid Shonda Rhimes? Over $600 million to 3 people, 4 people if you include Weiss, for production deals. they've just throwing money at people that haven't earned it. Haven't earned it. So Shonda Rhimes has been the most deserving of the three, actually. And I love Benioff and Weiss' work on Game of Thrones, but that's one series, and she's done quite a few that are big hits. So yeah, it's really weird. Disney, the diversity chief is gone. We want to talk about that at all?
I think
Do you
that's a
think that's going to
start.
matter?
I think anybody who has like a DEI director,
Yeah, that's all by ESG.
that's not a real job. So you should
It's not a
fire
real.
you should fire those people.
Sterling said that it's
If
not a
your
real
job,
job.
if you have a DEI director, that's the beginning of your company going down. So
Yeah.
at least getting rid of that position is a start.
So that was the second thing I was going to talk about with COVID, and they made the bad strategic business decisions for subscriber growth as opposed to um, profitability, which is what every business should be focused on. Was the emergence in the early to mid teens of what we started to see with these ESG groups. So the environmental social governance groups, they were brought into these companies. It started in DC. They were brought into these companies to be involved with the boards, to get involved with social causes,
They've tanked these companies.
and they've ruined many of a great brand in companies. It's 10 years ago. You talk about who has the most respected, trusted brands in the world. Disney was one of them, and they come in, and it's great to say you want to be involved in your community, but that's done by the individual. Companies are responsible for a return on shareholder value. So you have dividends, you're expecting a return on your investment, and they come in and they go, you know what? We need to get involved in this cause. And if someone walks in and says, you know what, but that's 10% of the population, and we have 90% of the population or our customer base that may not like that. It could cost us business. Well, the ESG group didn't care about that. They didn't care about profitability. And then they gave what's called a score. If you weren't involved in ESG scoring and you had a low score, it impacted your ability to raise money on Wall Street. So these companies started getting involved with causes through their ESG groups. What's up, Legendary Tron? Hey, bud. Hope you're enjoying the Jedi Survivor game. Got a chance to meet him in Nashville for ICCC. Him and his brother Jacob, I think is his name, right? So I hope you're doing well, bud. It was great to meet you, and Matt Taween too. I talked to Matt Taween for a little while at the panel, but yeah. So those two things have put these companies in the position where they are because they have bad leadership, and so what I would say about writers and showrunners and studio heads is go read that article that is on the Hollywood Reporter, and it'll be the last thing I share, but I want you guys to see it. It is, let's see if I can find it. I think this is it. So this article, if you guys can see it on Taylor Sheridan, this is a little bit like a George Lucas style of, I'm the creator. I tell these stories, and there's no compromising. You greenlight it. The budget is the budget. We film something, and you say, well, we have to cross this river. Can you do a shot of them before they cross it and after they cross it? And his answer is no. You approved this. You greenlit it. We're filming the damn river. And like he doesn't budge. And this guy is so impressive with how he controls his storytelling and his disdain for writers' rooms, because they just don't. They don't have any experience in the subject matter. They get pulled together, and so it's really impressive. And what I didn't know is he based Yellowstone. He turned down a big production deal from the Paramount Plus or Paramount Group, and he came back to them because the ranch that he grew up near, the 4 Sixes, which is 270,000 acres. The lady that owned it, and it had been in the family for 150 years, and they'd fought to keep the land, which is the story Yellowstone's based on. That he based it when he wrote the story. She died, and so the property was going to go up for sale. He went back to Paramount. He did a production deal and got $350 million to to go buy this ranch, and now the ranch is almost the size of Los Angeles, 270,000 acres. And he just talks about his philosophy. And as you're reading it, I want you guys, if you get a chance to read it, even if you don't like Yellowstone, reading how he views creativity and how to do these series and how he deals with the studios. He talks about dealing with HBO and dealing with Hollywood, and it's just fascinating because I feel like this is one of the guys that gets it, and he has a little bit of a 1970s Lucas feel to him. You don't support what I'm doing? That's fine. Don't pay my director's fee. Give me the licensing for and the rights to the sequels, and we're all square. And then he becomes a billionaire. And I love supporting individuals like this. And I feel like if we had more of them out there, um, we'd be seeing better content within Marvel, and we'd be seeing better content from Disney. But these big corporations, a lot of them don't want to deal with someone like Taylor Sheridan. Luckily, a little bit of a blueprint has been built because he went to Paramount and he's propped up their whole streaming service with his content. So
The thing is with a guy like that, though, is he's a guy that created his own universe and he's in full control of it. Most of these writers aren't in that situation. They're being brought on to work on somebody else's work.
Or they sell their scripts and they lose the rights. Yeah. Like Mark Greaney wrote The Gray Man. And I don't know if you guys read any of the books. It kind of has a Born Identity feel to it. Mark Greaney is an author who is from Tennessee, and he wrote the Gray Man series. And there's about 10 books. They're great books, but he sold the rights. And so Netflix spent $200 million to make The Gray Man with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. And it doesn't hold up to the books. But he lost the ability to control the casting.
They see that check and
they send him a check and he's done. And so, but that's what Taylor Sheridan talks about early on in his career. He had the script for Mayor of Kingstown and he wouldn't give up the rights to it. He wanted control. And then with Yellowstone, he went to HBO and HBO said, he pitched him. It's the Godfather in Montana, and HBO said they weren't interested in that. And so he ends up taking that content and make sure he had the rights to it, and the rest is history. So I just thought that was kind of cool because it does kind of teach lessons that some of the entities out there, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and some others, that we're going to be seeing with Universal. I think Universal's kind of getting it right now. They're letting the people that know the IP and the content do their thing. But it's interesting stuff. So you talked about the Marvels. We get past Indiana Jones, and if it's a flop, then heads are going to roll. I don't know. There's no way that maybe Kathy Kennedy stays for longer to the new year, beginning close to when her contract's up, but that whole story group will be gone. If she survives, if Indiana Jones flops, they will cut all the heads under her. That's what happens in big corporations. If you can't cut the head of the chief, you cut all the people under them. And that's what happens first. It's like sports. If you can't get the head coach gone, then all the people under them get fired, and then a year later the coach is gone.
They let her resign.
Yeah, I think she was never going to get unceremoniously fired. She's going to get a package where they talk about she's stepping down and she's going to be in an advisory role. That way she could go to all the charity lunches and dinners, and she can still raise money and be on the dinner circuit out in California with all her friends. But a special Ray, it won't improve at all. I think you're talking about a Lucasfilm. We'd have to know what's going to happen with the leadership, who's going to come in. My bet would be that that they're going to have some creatives that just report up to the guy who's running ESPN right now. You can get his name. I keep forgetting his name. But I know I need to take a sip of water. We were talking about getting beer. We were talking about getting beer, and we didn't get it before we went live.
That's what I suggested.
We weren't managing our time very well, and so we didn't get something to drink before we started. But I don't need water, Nikki. I need beer. Yeah, Daimyo never thought KK's real with solely fixed Lucasfilm. Yeah, I mean, they got
She's
bigger.
hired a bunch of people underneath her that share her viewpoints. I mean,
They'll all be gone.
Yeah, you have to
That's
clean house.
they'll all be gone. I'm not. I don't question that. I mean that
Then you do it
a
at
lot of those
Marvel
people have
too.
been gone. A lot of those people have been gone already. So she's got a smaller group around her. So yeah, I mean it's yeah, we need a few cold ones. It's right down the hall. I've got a theater room in there. All I have to do is go grab some beers. So maybe my producer can get up and go into the refrigerator and get us some beers. Anyway, yeah. So we get to the Marvels towards the end of the year, and that I don't see any way that makes money.
That's going to be awful. And
I
I
think
think that's going to be a good indication of where Marvel finally realizes, like, okay, yeah, this isn't working. And I hope they get all that straightened out before they try to do the X-Men, because if this team tries to run the X-Men as it is right now, it will be a disaster. And that's the only thing that can save them. And as far as I'm concerned,
I want to show you guys something that we were laughing about before we went live. And I got to show it to you. Talking about people that make just bad movies. Yeah, so the theater room, you got to talk to Nick at Echo Base. Maybe I should do, Nikki, should I do a video? Should we do a video on my theater room? It's kind of a little bit vanity, right? Because people show their
look what I got.
Yeah, they show their man caves. And
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it is a theater room. I got 2 rows of seats in there and like 120-inch screen or something. But it's cool.
Show
it's
it
cool.
off. Show me you're a baller.
Yeah, show my theater room with But so I got to show you guys. So we've talked about all these bad movies that are made, and how these people get these jobs. And I know Campia. So
that guy's insufferable.
Nikki, I need to do that. I need to go outside and walk around my pool and be like, "Hey, Campia, my pool, my backyard is better than yours, even though you have, 330,000 subs." That was a really weird video, and he just started calling people inbred. It was really strange, man. I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm a big fan of Robert Meyer Burnett. But so I got to show you guys. So talking about how can these people that don't know what they're doing be given the keys to make some of this content? And you got to see this if you guys haven't already seen it. I got to show it to you. It's classic. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I find it. Okay, here we go. And I want you to see her running ability.
Man. Okay.
What?
I'm glad they took the tax write-off.
Hey, okay, someone explain to me. You have a director, you have a crew, and they're all watching this. And she's got cement in her shoes. And look at the girl's face. Look.
She's like, oh,
she's trying not to laugh. Look. There's a girl with a coffee. And there are people that said, they should have put the Batgirl movie out. They should have released it.
No.
I don't have any doubt they made the right decision. But anybody that's in the chat, anybody that watches this stream, if I gave you a camera and you put an actress in a Batgirl suit, the bat suit, do you think you could film something that looks better than this? I mean,
oh my God.
What? These are the people that are directing these movies.
To be fair, though, the new group at Warner cleaned house on that, so I'll give them credit for
that. It's crazy. So who says Special Ray? They're going for the Adam West style.
She's got lessons from Ezra.
Adam West.
I hate the way Ezra Miller runs in the Flash.
Adam West was Carl Lewis compared to Batgirl in this scene. Reminds me of Ronald McDonald. She's never ran before. Like, they can fix it in post-production. I can't help it. Like, what? Who are these people? Like, You can't make this up. Like she got lessons from Ezra, Nikki Dicky. So that's what you just said, right?
Dude, I hate the way he does this thing with like his arms.
But yeah, what is he? That was one of the things I noticed in the movie. He's like a skater. He's doing like
it's so bad. It just doesn't work.
Dude got like she runs worse than the Flash. Yeah, nobody runs worse than that. Like I had to show you guys that. I was Evil Dick sent it to me on Twitter, and I called him, and we laughed about it for 15 minutes. Like, who are these people that are in charge of these projects? And then those dailies. Imagine being back at the office, and those dailies come to you, and they go, "What the heck are we doing?" Like,
but I will say, like we were talking earlier, I think that at least Warner has a plan. They recognize what they have done is bad and hired somebody to fix it. And we can't say that about Disney. Disney has no plan that we can see where we've been like, okay, they see there's an issue. They keep doubling and tripling down on their mistakes. From Marvel to Disney to Star Wars, everything they own is just double and triple down on the stuff that keeps failing.
We can rebuild her, make her stronger.
Yeah.
I thought that Marvel was going to bring out the cast of the Fantastic Four because I believe they have the cast for a Comic-Con. That's not going to happen. I thought that James Gunn might bring David Cornsweet out as the new Superman.
If they have another a couple more flops, though, I mean their whole phase, they're gonna have to rearrange that entire lineup. They're already shifting movies around, I think. So
it's crazy.
Blade's been put into what, like 2025 or something now, or Kang Dynasty or whatever. That's been pushed back to like 2025 or 2026 or something.
He's going to trial unless he does a plea deal. The guy played Kang. So we'll see what happens with that. But so what we have coming up, we've got Indiana Jones in 2 weeks.
Which I'll still probably try to. I'll still see that. I'm not going to see the Marvels because I just don't care. I don't care about any of those.
So when I meet her at the Superhero Con, July 7th, can I just tell her my name is Sterling? Do you want me to get a Brie Larson autograph that says "To Sterling, best wishes, Brie Larson"?
I don't.
Should I do it, everybody? I think I'm gonna go meet Brie Larson, and I'm gonna say my name is Sterling. I have a channel. I'm a big fan. Could you sign this for me?
She's gonna see this and be like, "The guy doesn't like me that much."
She probably is the type that she probably would watch someone's YouTube, and then it would crush her day.
She'd hit us with our 700 subscribers and just trash us.
Yeah. So, look, I'm, with all the things that have been canceled around Comic-Con, I'm kind of glad that we're going to San Antonio now. So, I'm going to do a photo op with, to ask Brie to sign a piece of cheese. I'm going to do something with Sterling for Brie Larson. But so let me think, is anybody else on the list unlikable? No, I think everybody else is good. Andrew Garfield. Going to meet Andrew Garfield. My boys know who that is. They like Spider-Man. They like Garfield Spider-Man. Going to meet Katie Sackhoff, Bo-Katan. So I like Katie. Going back to the Battlestar Galactica days. I like Katie Longmire. The Chronicles of Riddick. So she's good in everything she does. So we're going to meet her. And of course, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch. You want me to get something signed for you from Scarlet Witch?
I'm not a big. See, I'm the most.
What about Haley Steinfeld from Bumblebee?
I didn't know who that was. Wait, is that the hot girl chick? Yeah.
It's pretty attractive.
I'm the most. I'm just not very enthusiastic when I see celebrities.
Listen, I'm not going to be
to me, most of them are just weirdos that got lucky and became famous. I want them to make movies and shut up because every time they open their mouth, I end up not liking them.
So you met Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin.
You could tell he didn't want to be there.
He did not want to be there. You could definitely tell that.
And we met the chick from True Blood.
True Blood that played Jessica. Super nice. She was really sweet girl.
Really nice girl.
Yeah. And she's in Daredevil. She plays what does she play in Daredevil? What's her name in Daredevil? She's Jessica in True Blood, right?
Jessica.
But in Daredevil, she's Can't remember her name. And then we met Ian McDermott, Palpatine. He was
Which is
pretty nice.
cool.
He
Yeah,
was
he was
cool.
nice-
He
nice
was
guy.
cool. And
I
then
got tickled by the guy who played Gimli.
yeah, so the guy who plays Sala in Indiana Jones, Karen
nice guy,
Page.
though.
Yeah, she played Karen Page in Daredevil. Super nice, nice woman. Very, very nice. And but the guy who plays Jonathan Rhys Davies, that plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings and Sala in Indiana Jones, he tickled Sterling's back. When we
Nice
took
guy,
the
though.
picture.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy.
So I'm gonna say I got tickled by
Yeah, he
Gimli.
got tickled by
Gimli
Gimli.
the dwarf.
Yeah, so but I will say, Nikki, I don't really get excited meeting celebrities other than like the purpose of like now that I do a channel, having photos or whatever covered. But Amelia Clark, I may not even act like Kit Harington is even there. I'm gonna let my wife stand next to Kit.
She's gonna get a restraining order by the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she won't have to get a restraining order because I'll be with Amy. But I will be excited to meet Amelia. Even though I'm gonna wait and comment later on Secret Invasion. Because I know you guys, a lot of you probably haven't seen it yet. So I don't want to spoil anything on Secret Invasion. But Amelia Clark, I'm excited to meet Amelia. And I'm thinking, should I do something for the fan, like get her to sign something, original artwork? But if I get her to sign something original artwork, that's worth like, I mean, that'd be hard to give away. So I might be better off.
Might have to eBay that one.
Yeah, I might. If I get her to sign something, I may get her to sign something like one of the Game of Thrones cards. And that way I wouldn't feel so bad about giving that away on one of our streams.
Get her to sign both. She's right there.
Yeah, I may get her to sign both. So I don't know what you guys think. I mean, if you think that one of these Game of Thrones cards that I've given away some of the Game of Thrones sets, I can get an Amelia. Oh, the dragon egg. Yeah, but the dragon egg, Nikki is it's kind of hard to write on. Yeah. It's got all the ridges in it. I don't think she could write on it. But I've got some stuff I could get. I'll get an Amelia card and just have her sign the card, because I think you guys look online and see. I think an Amelia Clark signed Game of Thrones card with her picture on it is worth probably $400 or $500. So if it doesn't really cost me anything to get her to sign it, then I may give it away. I just don't know.
I thought you'd frame this.
Yeah, if she signs one of the original artworks, I'm gonna frame it and put it somewhere.
Sleep
like
with it.
That'd be hard to give away. But look, I'm no promises, but I'm gonna try. Kings Advisors, I've got some Amelia Clark cards you can use. Well, did you get any Amelia Clark cards in the set that I sent you? I still have these Game of Thrones box clicks. So I've got the distributor that does these. With the autographs, there's 3 autographs, an autograph card in every pack, and there's three packs in the volume. This is volume 2. Volume 1 has like Peter Dinklage, Amelia Clark, Kit Harington, some of the real expensive cards in it. And the volume 1 boxes are a little more expensive. And the distributor is holding 2 of them for me right now. So I wonder how many people tried to get her to sign it. She's not signing a nude. She's still complaining about having to even do that in the series. So
that wasn't even her, though. Wasn't that a body
that
double?
was her in when she got out of the hot bath, the season 1, showed her backside. And then
the rest of the time it was a body double.
And then when she had the scene with Khal Drogo in season 1, that was her. I don't know if it was her when she survived the fire.
Okay. I know she had a body double, and the body double looks almost just like her.
Yeah, she came out of the fire and she was naked. It showed her front. It may have been her, but she's talked about that, about how Dave and Dave put pressure on her to do that. But I don't know. Kings of Isers, do either of them have Ned in them? The Game of Thrones Volume 1 had Ned. I don't think Volume 2 does. Yeah, the fire is a body double in the later season. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When she came out of the hut and she burned the other calls. She
Leah Headey, they used like a body double and
for
just
the
CGI'd her
when she did
face
the
on it.
shame.
Yeah,
When she did
CGI'd her
when
face
she
on
walked down the street in shame. Well, Lena Headey, I don't know if you've seen her. She's tatted up. She's got tats all over. So
She was also really naked in 300, wasn't she? I think that was really her, and I was like, they look good.
she's added a bunch more tattoos since she did 300.
But
But
you can cover up tattoos. The guy who plays the mountain has tattoos. They
so
just paint over 'em.
so Lena Headey was in London when I was there in 2019, and so I saw Lena Headey. She had tattoos. She had a what do you call the shirts?
Sleeve.
No, I don't want to use the derogatory term for the shirt.
I don't know.
The undershirts, like, sleeveless. And she's tatted up everywhere. So, which is kind of cool. I really like Lena Headey. I think she's really cool.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
And she was amazing in Game of Thrones. It's hard to say a favorite character. I mean, if I had to pick, I mean, Daenerys Targaryen. I hated the way it ended, but I've said it on here before. I love Daenerys Targaryen. I don't know if you guys saw my video that I did this week it's a short video on Amelia commenting at the Secret Invasion premiere about Kit and the series and how spouse Peter. So the shirt I'm talking about. That's what she was wearing, and I didn't realize she had that many tattoos, but I guess she wore a lot of clothing in Game of Thrones that was long sleeves and all that.
They'll just paint over.
They'll paint it out, digitally remove the tattoos. But Lena Headey, like, it's hard to say, favorite characters, but her character was great, man. Cersei, I don't think she ever had any bad scenes. Like, every scene she was in, she was good. But I don't know if you guys saw the short video I did on Amelia Clarke talking about, that she's neighbors with Kit and Rose Leslie, and that she basically said, I'm not going to be on it, but I don't think I'll be on it, but I'll watch it, and so I thought it was interesting that she's very tight with Kit because she's best friends with Rose Leslie, his wife, and the fact that they're neighbors now. I know that she moved. She would know
England or something, or
do what?
Were they live in like England or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. She was in an area.
Kit turned into a soy boy.
Yeah, Kit. Kit's like, it'll be interesting to see Kit if he's wearing boots.
He's only like 5. He's a midget.
5'8". Don't say midget.
Sorry. I'm 6'3", so I make fun of people.
Yeah, Sterling's tall. We were at the con and there was a big Mandalorian guy that was like 6'5".
Yeah, he was taller, man.
And we're like, oh, take a picture. I was like, I'm not taking a picture with the dude. And so Sterling did. So it's 6'3" and 6'5" taking a picture. And so I bowed out of that one. But yeah, Kit's like 5'8". Kit's tiny. I said Tom Cruise is 5'7". I met Tom Cruise in the 90s. He was tiny. I couldn't believe it. But a lot of those actors are small. Stallone's not tall. A lot of them are short. But that's why when they did Solo, they had Harrison Ford's almost 6'1", and they had the guy playing Solo in the newer movie, Alden. He's like 5'9".
Oh, really?
Like, what are they doing? It's like doing Superman, and you have 6'4" Christopher Reeve, and then you have Superman. He's 5'9". It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, he made comments about not wanting to play toxic males like Jon Snow ever again.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like when actors open their mouth, they say stuff like that. And it makes me not like them.
Hey,
that's why whenever I meet them, I'm just like, okay, dude. I don't even want to meet them.
I could see Peter Dinklage holding his ground, but every other one of these actors.
Peter Dinklage, no, he was the one that got offended because they were.
No, he won't ever go back. I don't see Peter Dinklage going back unless they just paid him a load of money.
But he got offended because, like the Snow White movie was supposed to have dwarves.
Yeah. He's real serious, and he met with Dave and Dan. He met with Dave and Dan and said, "I'm not interested in playing this." And then they showed him the character and how important he was to the art.
Here's the reality: he'll never have another role that's even close to that for his lifetime. So everybody who trashes those roles, none of those actors will have anything.
Yeah, Jack Reacher. That was the guy that played Jack Reacher, who's like 6'3", 6'4".
The guy from the Amazon show was huge.
Yes, I'm saying that's what
Yeah, he's-
Caleb's talking about. King's Advisors. Tom Cruise played Jack Reacher, and he did a good job, but he's not Jack Reacher. You read the book or the Jack Reacher's. He's a big guy.
yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's like you can't have someone 6'5" playing Wolverine,
No,
right?
I mean
That's
Hugh
not.
Jackman did a pretty good job. He's like 6'2". And I'll be
Is he
honest with
6'2"?
yeah, he's tall.
Dang, I didn't realize that.
He's and that actually bugged me because I'm really about
That's
authenticity, but he did a good job other than that.
Matt to win. That's why it's hard to cast Superman. Yeah, because you cannot cast someone that's 5'10", 5'11" to play Superman. I'm sorry, you cannot do it. Like
How tall is
Corn Sweat.
Corn Sweat? He's like 6'1", isn't he?
You know what? I don't know. Look, he's over 6 foot because he was. I saw him in that series Hollywood, and he was pretty tall. I think it's going to be Corn Sweat as Superman. Look, I mean that's a tough thing to relaunch. I mean, I love Superman, but they've got to get it right. You can't. Superman the movie can't be darkly lit with the way that the cinematography is. It's got to have hope. It's got to have a sense of positiveness to it. That's what Superman represents. And I like Cavill, but Cavill was a victim of being in those movies where the visuals of the movies were real dark, and you never saw. I feel bad for Cavill about it because you never saw him getting.
He was the best casting of that Justice League.
But you never got to see him do like a smile and like be the Superman and the fun part of it. It was so heavy, and you go back and watch the original Superman with Christopher Reeve, and that's the blueprint. Two movies to me are the blueprints. If you're going to do superheroes and movies like that, watch Superman the original movie, the motion picture, and watch Iron Man, the first Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. You watch those two, you probably get a pretty good sense of what a movie like that should be. Don't put 30 characters in it, villains and other superheroes. Tell the story. Focus on the main characters.
They got to build a universe and focus on sequels. That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard.
You can't be thinking about the second, third movie. You end up with the third Matrix.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
007 soon. I think they're going to announce casting on 007 pretty soon. Who's going to be 007? I'd almost rather. I mean, I know they've talked about Cavill. They've the people that want Idris Elba to play it. There was talk about the guy that played Rob Stark, Rob Madden. There's been so many names thrown about for 007. I think at the end of the day, just get someone who, passes the eye test, right?
Aaron Tyler Johnson.
It's not going to be Aaron Taylor Johnson now. He's playing Craven the Hunter, and it looks awful.
Yeah, I didn't like the American accent for Craven the Hunter. like Russell Crowe kind of had the right accent.
Yeah.
And then you got
again, it looks like it looks like you could put it on the CW.
Well, I thought he had the look. Like he looked all right.
Yeah.
It's just he definitely didn't have the accent at all.
Look, I mean, I don't know. I mean, who could play Bond? I think the guy who played Thomas Shelby and the Peaky Blinders is probably a little too not big enough to play him. 007, King's Advisors. You're gonna be covered on your channel. I think it's as good a time as any. Like when they cast the role, I just want to see who's writing the stories, and I don't know. I mean, 007 is going to have his challenges in today's because I do agree. Maybe not using big names, but I think the challenge with 007 is he's kind of a chauvinist guy. Who is his character. That's who he is. Ian Fleming wrote him that way, and I don't think you can deviate from that. So you either end up committing to it and saying, "Look, this is just we're going to write this to be truthful to the story," or do you give it to Phoebe Waller-Bridge and she kills him? So that's what are you going to do
to a better female Bond?
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's interesting. But so the year of the bomb. We're going to tie all this up. We're going to wrap it up with. We've talked about all these bombs, but there's a movie coming out this year by probably, if I were to let someone do a Star Wars movie, this would be the director that I'd want to do it. If you were to put me in there tomorrow and say, give me someone to launch a Star Wars movie, I'd give it to Christopher Nolan.
Okay, yeah.
I trust Christopher Nolan as a filmmaker. James Cameron's not going to do it.
What does he got coming out? Oppenheimer? Is that
so? The year of the bomb. We're going to wrap up with all the movie bombs that are going to lose almost $1 billion for Disney and DC and the others. We have Oppenheimer coming out, and Christopher Nolan's in a good place because his movie doesn't need to make $1 billion. He's making Godfather type movies. I know, and not everybody would be excited for Christopher Nolan. I think, I do agree with you, like about the too realistic part, but we've never seen him in this genre, and I thought there were parts of Interstellar, not the whole movie, but I think there were parts of Interstellar where I could see where he took chances. And look, I mean, people have screwed up Star Wars so bad. I just like to see him take a shot.
Naming everybody that's talented.
No, I think he's the best filmmaker in the world.
I think he's really good, but all his stuff is grounded in reality. I do think he would have an issue with some of the over the top.
Look, if I knew that James Cameron would do it, I'd give it to Cameron. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't want to step into George's world. He's friends with George.
Right.
But so he didn't want to. He's got Avatar, and he's got the next 3 movies.
Do you really enjoy Avatar though? I don't like that world. Like,
here's my only problem with Avatar is
it's just Pocahontas.
I like the Avatar
Marines
movies
and aliens.
I like the Avatar movies, but I don't rewatch them. I don't know if other people are like that, but like Tim Burton I love Tim Burton. Look, I loved Edward Scissorhands.
I love Tim Burton in the late
Nightmare
80s, early 90s. I loved all his movies.
I love Tim Burton.
The look of his movies, like you knew immediately. It'd be like, is that Tim Burton? Because you could just tell.
Well, Tim Burton did the first season of Wednesday, right? He directed it, right? So,
I thought,
the guys, Miles Millar and
I thought he was a producer.
The guys who did Smallville, they were the show. They're the showrunners for Wednesday on Netflix, and they brought Tim Burton in. So, again, I don't think Tim Burton would do that either. He's so different. But, and then Ridley Scott. I'd rather go with Nolan over Ridley Scott. But I know what you're saying about the realism with Christopher Nolan. That is true. His movies are rooted in realism. But look, Inception's not rooted in realism, and that's one of my top 10 favorite movies. Inception.
It's not the concept. It's the look of his movies, though. Like, they don't have that. Well, like a Zack Snyder movie looks like a comic book movie. He just
the problem with Gareth Edwards, Matt Twain, is that his production was such a mess, with like not being on schedule and overruns and all that they had to call Tony Gilroy, who was on a yacht in the Mediterranean, and he signed a crazy contract because he was billing them. I don't know how he billed them. It was like a contract to come in, and he ended up reshooting like half the movie. So I do like at least the aesthetic of Gareth's new movie, The Creator, which looks pretty cool. That's coming out, but again, it may not be any good. But Dennis Villeneuve, Dune.
Yeah, that could be good.
I'd put him in the top 3 filmmakers in the world right now. Dennis is awesome. But like, again, there's people that can do it. They just have to be left alone. You get someone who's great. Like, could you imagine Tim Burton, Nightmare Before Christmas, and then he starts trying to make this, and they go, "No, you need to change this. You need to change this." Like, you hire the filmmaker that's qualified and let them do their thing. The problem is with Star Wars, they here's where you can play, here's where you can't. And that's the problem.
We're gonna need a Reva and Obi-Wan. We're gonna need that strong female character. They need someone who's not pushing that in every single thing they do. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't ever even want listen. We didn't even talk about Obi-Wan on our channel. We've never done a video on Obi-Wan, and we won't. I can't even talk about Obi-Wan. That's
So disappointing.
yeah, yeah, that's I'll let the other channels.
That was the thing that made
Cover
me
that.
absolutely not care about Star Wars anymore. That
Yeah,
was
so
the one where I gave up, and he's like, "Let's do Star Wars."
yeah,
I was
so
like,
that's
"Let's
right.
not do Star Wars."
We launched our channel, and we probably said this before. We launched our channel after Obi-Wan had come out, and we talked about, are we gonna cover Star Wars at all? And Sterling said, I don't want to watch any of it ever again after Obi-Wan. He didn't want to cover it. And so we knew we would have a focus on Game of Thrones, and we're going to do a whole lot more with Game of Thrones. So, so we knew that early on, but we thought that at least Mandalorian would be something worth covering. I still haven't made my mind up of whether we're going to cover Ahsoka. I'm so mad about what I know they're going to do. They're replacing Luke with Ahsoka. So we'll see what happens. But you know, yeah, it's the year of the bomb. So we've got Oppenheimer. You excited for Oppenheimer?
It's not really a movie to get excited about. I mean,
It's fascinating,
but
historical.
I think it's a good story. It'll probably be a really good movie. It's
Yeah.
probably the one that will actually be nominated for Best Picture and stuff
You'll
like
walk
that.
out realizing that there's even more danger out there now than it was then. You'll walk out
But I
probably
don't think
scared.
it's your typical summer box office, hit that
Yeah.
people are going for. But I do think it'll probably be one of the better done movies of the summer of the year, probably.
Well, and with all the writer strike stuff, the one good thing that's going on right now is they're filming House of the Dragon season 2. So this week they showed some. Oh, Joseph Kosinski. I like that movie Oblivion, and I'm a big Tron fan. So, I like. But the House of the Dragon, they changed the sigils on Rhaenyra's flags. So that's pretty cool. And they're filming in Wales, and Eddie Erie, or Eddie Era, that was in the fight with Ned Stark at the Tower. He's playing, I think, a completely different role in House of the Dragon. But he showed up, and so they've been filming some scenes in Wales, boats coming up on shore. So they're filming around the dragon seeds, and pretty cool stuff. And they have different walls, things that they did in Wales that could double as Winterfell, but I think some of the walls looks like it would be parts of Dragonstone. So from some of the shots I've seen, it looks like that they're filming exterior shots of Dragonstone. So if you guys remember the boats that would come up on the beach at Dragonstone, they'd be greeted by the guards. That looks like that's what they're filming. So that'll be interesting. Oblivion is really good, Special Ray. I liked it.
Oblivion's a movie with Tom Cruise, and he finds his clone, right?
Yep.
And
Tom
big
Cruise and
AI bot running everything.
And Morgan Freeman was in it, and Jamie Lannister himself was in that movie.
That's right, he was.
He was in it. Look for Jamie Lannister in the movie.
What's that Russian girl that's
Olga Karolinka. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah,
Alex Garland, was he the author of the book The Beach? I think he was. That was a Danny Boyle, Leonardo DiCaprio movie, The Beach. So interested in Oppenheimer, but it's not going to be one of the top 5 grossers of the year. Those movies typically don't. Heavy subject matter. Kind of like the movie coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio, Killers of the Flower Moon. Those movies,
what's that about?
It takes place on a reservation, or near the reservation. It's kind of an Oklahoma territory, and it's a power play around kind of resources, and I think Leo plays like an agent maybe, but it deals with treatment of Native Americans, and Scorsese's directing it, so everything he does is good. But again, some of those movies get to be so long, you can't watch them. I mean, I watched The Irishman one time, and I never watched it again just because it's 3.5 hours. But yeah, Alex Garland, I think he wrote The Beach. Might want to look that up. But I know he did Ex Machina and Annihilation. I loved Annihilation. But I think he wrote The Beach, and Danny Boyle directed it. Because I read The Beach, and I could visualize Alex Garland's name on the cover of the book. So the book was actually, I think, more interesting than the movie. But so House of the Dragon's filming right now. We thought we were going to get some Jon Snow news at Comic-Con. It looks like HBO won't be there presenting anything, announcing anything. But we're not only going to see Kit Harington, and before we leave, we're not only going to see Kit Harington and Amelia Clark in San Antonio at the Superhero Con, but they're going to be doing a panel. So I'll be at the panel, and I don't know if they'll let us film it, record it all or not, but I will be at the panel. They'll be doing a Q&A and talking. So you never know what might come out of their appearance. You got to think, unless they tell you you cannot ask the questions, they're going to ask about Jon Snow.
Yeah.
They're going to give the whole, it's hard to watch House of the Dragon because it's like going back to high school. They're going to give you those obligatory speeches.
Is it a Comic Con though?
It's a superhero con, and it's got the car show that has like the Batmobile and.
I don't know. I think they have her on there to probably promote Secret Invasion. But I could be
probably, but what do they have Kid on there for?
He was supposed to be what was the Black Knight or something from the Eternals? He was supposed to be
That's been scrapped though, hadn't it?
Yeah, I think his role's supposed to still be. I think he's supposed to appear somewhere, but
yeah,
I'm not sure.
So not I'm gonna try to. I can't promise. I mean, we've got a small group in here, and anybody that watches this stream, I think we did a stream. The last stream I did, we had a bunch of people, I guess, watching after. Our videos have really picked up, so we're averaging a couple thousand views our last 4, 5, 6 videos, and so we appreciate the support. And things are picking up, and we finally started to kind of understand, I think, the algorithm right before YouTube probably changes it again. But we for those that watch the stream and those that are on right now, I'm going to try my best to get something signed that I can give away. But I don't know the rules yet. I have to look at the con, like with sometimes they control what you can get signed and so I don't know yet. I'm going to take some stuff that's easy to carry. That's why a card is easy. I have the pen and the card, and they can sign it. Probably won't mind that. So between the Andrew Garfield, Haley Steinfeld, Brie Larson, Elizabeth Olsen, who I do like, Kit Harington, Amelia Clark, and Katie Sackhoff. You guys that are connected to us on Twitter want to shoot me a note. Nikki, if Lars Mikkelsen was there, I'd get something Thrawn signed for you. I don't think Lars is going to be there, but anyway, so any final thoughts? I know we're going to do another stream. What's today? Wednesday? I'm losing track of time. I've been in Nashville, Birmingham, Knoxville, Jackson. Am I missing somewhere? Memphis.
Yeah,
I've been in 5 cities in a week and a half. So that's what happens when you have your job that pays all the bills. So losing track of time. I think we're going to do a Game of Thrones stream, Hand of the King, episode 3, this weekend. So I'm going to confirm. I have to check and see whoever else is doing streams on Saturday, but I'm trying to get a guest. So if I do it on Saturday, are you going to be here, Sterling?
What, this Saturday?
Yeah.
I'll try. I'll see how.
He's not
I'll try to be there.
So I'm going to try to get
Are you going to have drinks this time?
I'm going to have drinks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We may even do it. Hey, because I'm not an expert on the books, but I may have someone
Did you
on.
open your pool yet?
The pool's open.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is on a Saturday night, Sterling's going to go out, and be swimming in the pool while I'm here on the stream. And
I'll come in later.
I'm going to have someone on who is an expert. I'm going to try to. If I can't get them this Saturday, I'll try to do it in the next few weeks. But I'm going to try to confirm. I've been working on it for a while to have someone on who not only knows this book, but knows all the Song of Ice and Fire books and knows them probably as good as anybody that's had a show or been out there covering the content. And so, if I can get them, we may do a little drinking game where because you get into these small characters, and you don't always remember the names. I
Right.
don't so the interesting thing will be like we get them on and we have some questions, being asked. And Caleb, I know you've been on before, so maybe we'll try to have Nikki on the stream because I know she wants to talk Game of Thrones. So, that's the plan right now. If we don't do it on Saturday, um, you've read Fire and Blood about 4 times. Fire and Blood's kind of easy to get through though, compared to Fire and Blood is
Well, it's not like he has any new books coming out. I guess you can
Fire
read
and
the
Blood
old
is
ones.
700 pages. That's nothing compared to his other books that I've got sitting over there. Like, I mean, it takes forever. But so we're going to try 2 for Saturday, which will be today is what, the 21st?
Mhm.
So the 24th, June 24th, sometime around 8:30, 9 o'clock, depending upon who else is streaming. And we're going to try to have a special guest on, and I will try to get it worked out to where we announce who that is on Friday. So I'll post it on Twitter who the guest is, and we'll see. I'm gonna try to make it work. If I can't get it locked in, try to do it for the following week. And then the following week we have the 4th after that, and we'll be in San Antonio for Superhero Con. So, and on Saturday we're gonna do a giveaway. So I don't know that I'm gonna give away the same stuff I've been giving away. You know what? I may give away something a little bit different. So I've given away Rise of the Dragon. I've given away the Game of Thrones card sets. So I don't know. I have to think about, maybe I'll give away stuff like this, the Hand of the King pins. These things are like the legitimate, like HBO on the back. See, so they're heavy too. You get these things.
You can wear that to the bar and everything.
Yeah, you can wear it
Wear it out.
You can wear it out, and if somebody tries to accost you, it becomes a weapon. It's pretty cool. But we'll figure out some stuff to give away, something that people enjoy, that I can send off as long as it's in the United States. So, final thoughts. You like the Flash?
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't as bad as it's gonna bomb.
Looking
But,
forward to who's going to be Superman?
I am. Yeah, as far as movies coming out,
Looking forward to any announcements around your number one thing, which is Wolverine and the X-Men.
Nah, I mean, they'll do the Deadpool 3 before.
You excited for Deadpool 3?
I am. It's the only Marvel movie announced that I care about.
It's the one thing they have
And
right.
then I think they'll start kicking off the X-Men stuff after that.
Excited for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Yeah.
We'll have to go to. We're going to cover that. We're going to cover Dead Reckoning, and then we get to the end of the year. We'll probably have an announcement around once the strike stuff gets resolved, because they've halted a Night of the Seven Kingdoms writers' room around that. So we'll hear some more around Game of Thrones, and I'm gonna have some video content that I'm gonna air. Sterling Kings. What are you talking about, Sterling? What do you think? X-Men, Daredevil.
The Deadpool, I think they will do it right if you're talking about that.
Oh, Daredevil, Deadpool.
Because Ryan Reynolds is still behind it, and they got Hugh Jackman back. I think they'll do that right. As far as the greater X-Men universe, I don't know about that. Yeah, I agree. They need to do the Wolverine mask, Special Ray. It's about time for that.
Oh, the Wolverine mask.
Yeah, they need to do the full costume.
Yeah, go back to yeah.
They actually teased it at it wasn't Logan. It was the second one. They teased his costume at the end in an alternate ending. Yeah. It wasn't in the movie. It was on the Blu-ray.
It was on the disc.
He opens up a case and they have the mask. And I was like, that would have looked perfect. That would actually look really good in the movie. But yeah, they got to do his full costume.
So one thing I don't know if we'll be able to do it on Saturday stream, but I don't know if we'll do a video or stream. I have to figure it out, but I have so many photos from the trip to Ireland during season 8 of Game of Thrones. I have
I've got some. I've got a few I can
You've
send
got
you.
some too. I've got photos
Been to Ireland twice.
of where they did all the costumes, the building, how the costumes. I've got photos of every costume that was in the show, all the swords that were used, everything that was used from the show, um, and then certain locations, filming of. I've got video of when they burned King's Landing, and you could see the sets where they built on the streets that was closed off. I've got a ton of Game of Thrones photos from season 8, the final season of the show, before those episodes were out, before they showed Drogon burning. And I wonder if you guys would like that. So I may put that out. I don't know. I got to think about the format of it, whether it's just a video, longer form video, or a stream.
Yeah,
But
I send you some. I've got some. I've got
I
some
probably have 100 photos and just great photos. Like,
most of my stuff's from the first 3 seasons, I think.
yeah, they had sets built like when you would, you know, the White Walkers and so much great stuff from Game of Thrones. And I need to figure out a way to put that out because they're really great shots of different things. And so um, I'll figure out a way to do that. But thanks for hanging with us. I know we went to almost 2.5 hours. Thanks for the loyal people sticking in with her. I know a lot of people were streaming tonight, and we're a newer channel, so we really appreciate it. And we've got more Game of Thrones stuff coming, more content coming, and we're going to stay on top of the stuff. I'm a Taylor Sheridan fan, so Yellowstone, 1923, all that. So we're going to cover our core stuff, and then Superhero Con coming up in 2 weeks in San Antonio. I'll have some video around that, and look forward to Saturday, our next stream. And Nikki, you're invited. So once we get it finalized who the guest will be or not, we'll let everybody know on Friday with enough time for people to know what's coming. So thanks everybody. We're gonna get out of here. Everybody have a great night. Have a good rest of the week, and TCB.